to order. It is the 8th of July, 5:30, and this is the Legislative Committee. Mr. Teacher, will you give us the invocation, please?
Heavenly Father, Lord, we love you so much. We thank you for the opportunity to serve, Lord, and just I hope be more like you, Lord, and thank you for the opportunity to serve such a wonderful county, Lord. Let's always remember it's made up of all the individual. And I pray you'll please just allow us to do the right thing, Lord, for the most folks that in what their will is, Lord. But most of all, Lord, I pray with you, Lord, walk in a spirit of unity, Lord, with the county and with all the citizens, Lord, and just allow us to have their interests first and our interests behind theirs, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. Before we approve the agenda, new business 9B is not supposed to be here. I think that was supposed to go to Budget Committee, and so I would like to remove that if there are no disagreements with that. And I believe everything else can stay, so I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. All right. We have no, approval of the minutes. I've been through them. I don't see any changes.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Rogers. Do we have a second?
The minutes.
I'll second it.
Okay, well, Commissioner Hyde seconded it, so.
I want to have
I wasn't here.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
one abstention.
One abstention.
I wasn't here.
We have no recognition of the public. We have no report from the chairman, and we have no mayor. So, we will go into old business. Discussion resolution 150402 clarifying ownership, routine maintenance, support services, and funding for the Hendersonville Library. Mr. Sittler, can you educate us on?
Yes, I've been dealing with the city attorney, and we're trying to get some sort of agreement on this reversion and to get it to be a complete change of deed to where we're the sole owner without any possibility of reverter. They're trying to, I believe, get something so they can have some language to the effect of that the property will continue to be used as library property, but I've got no official counter, as it was, from them yet. I anticipate hearing something this week, because I think they're voting on some stuff this week, and this will be part of it.
Now, just for clarification, there was a document their attorney said, it says the city spent over $7 million and the $3 million balance came from a nonprofit, but I'd gone back to our finance department and they showed me where we had spent $3 million on it. Do you know what the final analysis was on that?
The city attorney said he was unaware of the breakdown of that math and that there was that much money that came from the county, and that is to be the subject of future conversation with him and the city so that they can tender their counter.
Okay. So there is nothing we can do on that item for right now until you hear back from their...
Yes, and I might suggest asking GenOps to take up some new business that we see what exactly the status of any maintenance issues are at that library, because I'm not sure there's anything pending the outcome of this, or some stuff needs to be addressed now until this is settled, or if everything can wait. So that's just a suggestion. I'll leave that at chair's discretion.
Maybe I'll talk to the mayor or the maintenance department, see what they know and can tell us.
So how, may I ask a question,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman? How is it different, the reverter clause, and a clause in there stating that it will continue to be used as a library. Is that just saying that it's without any kind of penalty, that it's our intent that it will continue to be used? What is the difference? What are we talking about?
It's really two separate issues. However, the end result to me ends up being the same, because if there is a breach in that library use, then what are you telling me happens? Is something's got to happen to the deed, or there's got to be some sort of judicial mechanism in play for them to enforce the county to continue to use it as a school. So that's what we've got to account for if we just want to entertain the use as a library aspect of this. And that would be for me and the city attorney of Hendersonville to work out to actually tender whatever the bona fide offer is, so that you've got something to look at, kick the tires on, so to speak.
I'm just curious, did you in your conversation express to him that there are some members that would be just as happy to give it to the city of Hendersonville?
Yes, I did. I said that was another avenue that the county was entertaining, was if we can't work something out, we'll quit, claim it to the city, and they can take responsibility for the maintenance of the property and its improvements, being the building itself. So that was conveyed.
Okay. Any response from that conveyance?
No positive or negative response.
Okay.
Would that include their employees too, or would that just be the
Everything.
building, employees, all of it?
I wouldn't want to furnish employees for someone
Right,
else's building.
precisely.
Yeah.
And that would become a
You can count
separate
me among
issue
that number.
Yeah, it's $1 million a year.
versus the 50,000 MOE, and that was actually discussed as well.
Yeah, and I'm very serious about that, and it's not being punitive or anything else. As a resident of Hendersonville and a friend of the library, I don't, as long as it's operating and operating well, I don't care if it's the county or the city. It makes me no difference as long as we have our library. And so I'm very serious about that.
Okay. So hopefully we'll have an answer next month.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. All right, moving on. Discussion of a county parks and recreation board. I tell Chairman Hyde that I spent about 2 hours going through documentation that I received from Ms. Norfleet. There was, and maybe still is, a Parks and Recreation Board, but it has not been updated. And I think the last time they made any movement at all was actually when we were commissioners, and it was in 2023, right after we were, like October of 2023. Because it just kind of died on the vine, and it was really only formed to deal with the Brown Park, which is it's a real dilemma right now. The Brown Park is. I'm trying to find a way to have a meeting regarding that part, and so that we can get through the legal issues involved in it. I don't know that we don't want to just drop this idea for the time being. Mr. Hyde put it forward in the first place, and he pulled back on it, and it has stayed on old business since then. But how does the committee feel about starting another, or rejuvenating another committee that has gone dormant in the last 2 years? Is there any thoughts on that at all?
Well, I guess I don't have the actual, sorry, I'm just running off at the mouth, Mr. Chairman.
Sure, go ahead.
I don't have the actual agenda here in front of, or the resolution that Chairman Hyde drew up in the beginning. But I think his intent was good. Obviously, as I'm sitting here beside him, that's what I'm going to say. But Kidding. So, I think the intent was good, and I liked it when he brought it forth, because it kind of puts everything, in perspective. And I know we don't like more government. However, I think this plan would kind of put everything in perspective, that we could see where we're going as a county. I don't want to speak out of turn or out of ignorance, but I think this was done because of a grant. Which, that's how it works. You know, let's make more government layers, and then let's use government layers to get grant money, and then once we got the money, we don't have to report back to anybody, so it just goes unseen. So, I would like to keep it, at least the idea of it. We can hold it under old business until we feel like we need to put it back together, but as many properties and historical places that we have throughout the county, may not be a bad idea to have. And that's what I thought, when the wise chairman brought it forth, that this is good legislation, and this is what we need to hang on to, but I'm only one, but that would be my recommendation.
Well, there was money spent on a document, that was finished in 2020, I believe it was 2020, and maybe approved by the county commission in 2022. And it talks about 5 pieces of inventory that we own as a county. And it was also talking about other aspects of growth that we could do as far as a park, or walking trails, or any of those kinds of things. I'm fine going either way. We can keep it on old business and have it, maybe drop the hammer on it next time when we have the entire committee here. The one thing I would encourage you to think about is the money that it costs to build parks, greenways, and maintain them.
And
so, those are big things. Yes, sir.
And my other question would be is, I know we have that walk across Sumner. Is that affected by that grant? Or does this board have to be there in order to have the walk across Sumner grant that's functioning? And then on the other side of that, I think the walk across Sumner partners with the Sumner County Health Department maybe, and they do lake cleanups certain times of the year. So is this partnered with that as well?
I suppose it probably depends on the grant. I do have the grant contract here, but I have to tell you, I have not taken time to read through the whole thing. So I know that for this grant, there had to be an MOU. And the MOU, from everything I can tell, was not endorsed by the county commission, but the county commission did do a resolution, 2010-02, which this was a resolution approving submission of the TDEC grant application for $500,000 and commitment to matching funds. And we know that TDEC changed that to $625,000. Which then the county had to match, so we had to come up with another $125,000.
Oh, their in-kind contribution.
Yeah.
Grant.
And at this point in time, there's been about $200,000 committed towards the architecture and engineering of that park. Yes, sir.
I still think that to have a county parks board and recreation board, and we may want to call it something else because I wanted it to be more inclusive. I think it's not a bad idea. Like all things, it bothered me a little bit because I could see it becoming very bureaucratic, very large, and first thing you know, somebody will be wanting a director, and then we know that every director must have an assistant director, and on and on and on. As long as you had reasonable people understanding that we want to include historical and recreational and park areas in this, without just doing outlandish kind of things. I think it could be I still believe it could be a positive. I just don't want to grow government. I don't want government to get out of control. We have enough of that as it is, but it could be a good thing. On the flip side of that, I think it's definitely not fair, even though it's to administer money that was set aside for it. I don't think it's fair to have a group of citizens interested in development of one single park in the county because there happens to be money attached to it. I would like to see the other recreational areas looked at with the same seriousness as this one. So I think there are some possibilities, along with the fact that we need to be careful about control of.
In discussions with Commissioner Bergdorf, Flippers, the marina down, who owns that? Is it the county?
I don't know, I have not had that discussion with you, but the Odom Bend
Yeah.
we have boat docks down there, 3 boat docks that the tourism board has been maintaining and insuring at $1,200 a year. That was the number that I last recall seeing. And, we were just notified, Eric notified me 2 months ago that lease had not been renewed on those docks in December of 2022. So the board voted to renew that lease in May. We don't own Flippers, though.
Okay.
Just those 3 boat docks. And I don't know them.
Well, that would be another,
So, but when you say that we have 5 properties, I see Brown Park, Bledsoe, Douglas Park, Bridle House. Those are the 4 I know of. What are you saying, Odom Bend?
no, there's the Greenway, the lower station camp Greenway.
Oh, okay, I wish you knew about that. Okay, and that's attached, and I do want to add, the Douglas Park house is right on the Greenway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that we can escape having a parks board anymore. I don't want to see the county get to the business of owning parks. That is a lot of money and a lot of work, but we own the Bledsoe property, we own the Douglas Park house, we own the Bridle House. We lease Odom to do. So, for instance, the Douglas Park house bathrooms, those are open 24 hours a day. We have security cameras on them. Our maintenance men go over there and clean the restrooms. The county maintenance men. But the tourism staffs that position. And when they took the $500,000 grant to redo or to bring Douglas Park up, the state required that house be open for 20 years to the public. So tourism has taken over staffing that. But I can just see where, and if there were to be a board, that it would be someone from each property on that board. So, but to have personal input on that. But I agree. I agree a board would be a good way to go collectively.
I agree that it could be very beneficial, and I think too that if we looked, we would find that we have many historical markers, that is, sites without any property, anything that we designated. We have many historical sites that need to be designated.
Yeah, there's the old post office in Cotton Town.
Yeah, it's all kinds of things that are going to, and if we do this, we'll start finding more than we ever dreamed of that will come forward. But like I say, I agree with you, Shannon. I think that we need to just make sure that we have the people with, some balance in their thinking, that we've got to do this reasonably and not, and that was the very reason that I pulled back on the idea, even though I thought at the time it was a good one.
Mr. Sidler, do I need to suspend the rules to have a commissioner speak from the audience?
Yes, there's no motion pending, is there?
No, not yet.
Because I would like to bring something up as well.
Okay.
This B in the minutes for October 1st, 2020 is a complete misstatement of the facts and what the trust continues to rely on as being a true assertion of this $500,000. So at a minimum, this Parks and Recreation, what are we calling it, committee, is going to have to be used to help ratify the MOU we are not sure was enacted, that was ratified by the commission, plus the use of the $500,000 that was supposed to go to the county. We have not received those funds. They've not been in communication with the county over those funds. And I know budget's taking a lot of time right now, but that is something that's going to have to be addressed pretty quickly, or let it die, and it's entirely at y'all's discretion. But these minutes are, I mean, it even says in B that this is the whole reason this was created, was to allocate and spend this money for that Brown Park.
Legal, what, thank you.
And to Mr. Hyde's point, that to create something that's more inclusive is exactly how that needs to be treated, as something completely independent of this Brown Park. And also, I would caution you with the property that you're looking at, and that whatever new board you create, make sure to clarify the ownership issues, because we could be jumping into stuff that's owned. Have to know that walking in on the front end instead of trying to fix it on the back end.
Okay. I entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
So much.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since you brought up the Brown House, this needs to be made on press and get that key, just to see what is in that house again also. That was supposed to be the first thing that was the money. Now it's spent $200,000 of taxpayer money, haven't touched any money that was actually donated for this project, so that needs to be looked into. As far as the Parks Board or committee goes, what's the makeup of that board as far as terms that the people serve? Did they all roll off already, or is that something you also need to look into? Because I know somewhere in there it says that the makeup could be as many as 2 school board members. Are those school board members even there anymore, or they've already, left the school board? Those terms need to be looked at to see how you want to make it up, and it may require restarting it to the proper committee set with the proper makeup and the correct terms, so they roll off the way we want them to protect all the properties, not just school-related parks. There's a lot to think about.
Yeah, well, at the time, there were 7 members: Oliver Berry, Deanne DeWitt, Mike Brown, Aaron Ellard, Dr. Mary Day Reynolds, Tom Tucker, and Sean Utley. So I don't know if there's a document or some sort of a resolution. Yeah, and the terms, how long they run. So I suppose I better go back and find out how that's structured, or what kind of documentation there is on it.
I believe to our standing rules, though, Mr. Chairman, we would have to reflect that old resolution in our new resolution that Chairman Hyde brought forth, saying what we're replacing or redacting that altogether.
Have we done a resolution?
I don't know, you've asked a question I don't have the answer to, I'll have to research that after.
You know.
It was just a draft.
It was a draft, and it
Oh, you're talking about his, I thought you meant that started this
I
one.
pulled it before.
Yeah.
Okay.
And was it a private ad? Do you know that?
I have not
Oh,
looked
okay.
beyond these minutes, no.
I probably missed it somewhere in the process. I don't remember acting on that.
Yeah.
It was pulled.
It was
We
pulled.
never did act on it.
Okay.
So I pulled it, but.
No, we're talking about this other.
Oh, this is, okay, you're talking about.
Mine was pulled.
Yours
It was never acted upon.
He's talking about the existing ones that made
Yeah, that's
the original board.
I'll have to research.
That's why I suggested, since there has been no change in the current, what is current, you may have to abolish it to create something new, otherwise, do this.
Maybe.
No, that's the way it's structured now. So that's what I'm saying. You gotta look into that. And if you wanna change the makeup of the board and everything else, it may be easier to abolish it rather than try to put on people and take off people.
Okay.
See what I'm getting at?
Yeah. If that's,
Well, if you structured this other one in such a way before the commission that it would replace any existing
Yeah.
kinds of boards, and you have already abolished, and you can start where you are. However, as I think about this, anyone that wants to take up my handiwork and go forward with it, I think it should be a board that is, under general operations. That will be another way of helping to maintain some sense of equilibrium with money and everything else, so that the general ops, they could function as they wanted, except general ops could intervene, something to that effect, and not confirm any of their actions.
yeah, I agree, since general ops.
That would be another check.
Yeah. And since general ops deals with the properties of the county, all except the school. Does the mayor put forth names on all committees like this, though? I mean, he doesn't do it for the airport authority, he doesn't,
I think he has one or two on each position.
I mean, I know, he doesn't for the library, board.
I think it's how it's structured.
Yeah, okay. So if Mr. Sittler's gonna look into that, Commissioner Teacher.
I was gonna say, Mr. Hyde said something I've been thinking about, and then we were talking about historical markers. I don't know exactly how I feel about this board, but regardless of that, I think that I think he had a great point. I think this is what he was making. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but he said the name could be something close to that or something different, maybe not. And the historical marker, fact, I mean, I think there's a lot of people that really love the history of our county, and there's a lot of historical history that's like maybe military related, or maybe musically related, or just community related, or civil rights related. And it might be interesting if we could maybe put if it were Parks Recreation and historical markers or something like that, historical landmarks, something like that. Because I think that is, regardless of how I feel about if the park board should be, I don't know. I need to speak to more citizens. I need to do a little more research before I make a decision. Either way, but I think that at that point, at that thought, if we were to say something like, Parks Recreation, and then something that would encompass things that are not necessarily a plot that is owned and other than a marker not maintained. You want the marker. If the marker falls over, a lot of times the county would come up and put it up anyway.
Sure.
So, that would, they might weed around, I don't know, but I'm just saying, there's some really interesting markers I've seen that might be in city limits of things, but there's some really really cool history of, you know, civil rights, markers for one thing that I've seen, and then some really great historical, like, musical markers and Revolutionary War type markers and things like that.
Sure.
I know Revolutionary War didn't really happen here, but you understand what I mean. Like, there's some things that were gifted that were the grants, you know, that were really important. So, you know, anyway.
I think there's several things that ought to be incorporated in this. You know, we sit here, markers, for instance, I think the state of Tennessee furnishes a marker, is it $1,000, one of those markers, but we could have people donate money probably for markers. For instance, it just crossed my mind here, does anyone know what's set where the public library is in Gallatin? Anybody? Pardon? Pardon? Where the library is in Gallatin? Yeah, what was it? It was General Shoe, but before it was General Shoe, it was Gallatin High School. It would be neat to have a marker there where the public library is indicating if that was Gallatin High School, or a marker on Glass Street where the federal troops were stationed in Gallatin at what was the Black Fairgrounds.
Yes.
So there are all kinds
There
of
is one little
history
marker there.
that I think we ought to be somewhat responsible for marking in this county. And so to your point, that's what I envisioned when I said markers. I think historical size markers and so forth, with being reasonable about it.
Yeah, DeShay Creek in 1806 had 5,000 baptisms there.
Yeah,
Who knew?
I know.
A marker would tell you that. You're right.
And I did leave this out, but like we've got, you know, Beach Cumberland Presbyterian Church, which has some things there, some markers there, but also like even Mount Olive, or, you know, Mount Olivet, you know, that community, I believe that was one of the first, you know, schools, there's a black school, I believe, over there in that community, and that's a really important part of our community, my district. And you know, I've got a lot of district that lives down those roads right there. It's pretty special, you know, that part of the history, you know.
I'd like to make a motion that the chairman appoint a 3-person committee from the legislature to review this, without me being a member of that committee. So when it goes bonkers bureaucratically and grows, I can point my finger at other people. But
So remember, when you're pointing, sir, you have 3 coming back, okay? I just want.
But I think, I would like to make a motion that you appoint 3 people to come back with a suggestion on exactly what we do with this. I mean, a roadmap.
Appoint 3 people within the committee.
Who's not here?
That's what I was.
Chairman Mansfield, top of the list.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second from Commissioner Rogers? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, well, do I have to do it right now?
No.
I was thinking, Commissioner Show, Commissioner Mansfield, and.
And Commissioner Teacher.
No, Commissioner Rogers.
I would like to appeal to Chairman Hyde to reconsider, since he is the historian as well as many other things.
And he knows a lot of things, so I would like to appeal to that good nature.
I will
That's pretty
volunteer.
broad.
I would volunteer for it if Mr. Hyde would.
I'll volunteer for it if Mr. Hyde will do it too.
Well, there's 3 people right there.
Yeah, there we have it.
Seriously, do we have the 3?
Yeah, we do.
Who is it?
Hyde, Teacher, and.
Mr. Hyde's the chairman.
No, that's.
He said, I'll volunteer, but no, I'm not sure.
I'm finding it hard to chair myself, much less.
Who was number 3?
Me. That's 3.
Klein.
Yeah.
Oh, Klein, yeah. Boy, you'll jump on that grenade for anything.
I wanted Mr. Hyde on it too.
So how do you want this to show next month?
Well, if you can find out all the restrictions, legal anything with the existing, if you can get that to us soon, we can probably, put something together and,
Just let it be new business when we get it together. Okay.
What's the subcommittee called? Just for the notes, doesn't matter.
Parks and Rec Board.
Yeah.
the what?
County Parks and Rec Board.
Parks and Rec, is it an ad hoc committee, or what are we? Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be an ad hoc, right?
Or a subtract off.
Well, I guess we're back in session, so.
Since we just took a vote, I'd say that's good.
All right.
May I add something to that?
Sure.
Since I think you all need to look at, since you're going to be the three on the board, and you mentioned having people donate money for markers, might be a good idea to see if this would need to be how you would set that up, where people, does that make sense?
Yeah.
'Cause
I like those metal ones, I think they look really cool.
no, I'm just talking about the mechanism for having money donated to your county-owned Parks and Rec Board.
We're gonna take it out of tourism.
Flush it. Oh, I didn't mean it like.
No, I didn't mean it, I didn't mean that, I just mean I have to, we're a 501c6, but I'm just saying, you might want to consider when you all.
There's definitely some work
A
involved.
whole laundry list of stuff that needs to be considered.
And if you want some ideas, you can call me.
Okay. All right, new business, veteran service report is attached. Jeff is not here, but he had another 3 or 4 great stories in his writing, so, I'd encourage everybody to read it if you haven't already.
I always like his report.
Item C, over opioid settlement agreement. Commissioner Rogers.
So I was just gonna entertain a motion, Mr. Chairman, that's why I moved, so we,
Do you need an explanation?
yeah, please.
Please.
Yeah.
If I may, this is unusual. The state hit us with this very quickly and said that there was I tracked the bankruptcies and everything that's going on with the opioid money, the legal side of things. And this was going through as a settlement and they're moving it through quickly. So for the county to be able to participate in what the state receives, they needed everything locked up by the first part of August. So we're trying to get this resolution through legislative. I've notified the chairman of the opioid committee that we are taking this route because it's the bare bones route. And then this will go straight to commission. Once it's ratified, then I can get a copy to the state. And that leaves us eligible for the funds that should be distributed pursuant to the judge signing off on it.
I'll second that, but with a question now, and that is, will we have time with the commission meeting being pushed to the 29th? Will that be adequate to?
Yes,
Okay.
it'll be cut.
Close.
Yeah, but it is enough time, yes.
Okay, well, I'll second Darrell.
Any other discussion on it? Mr. Sidler, you have any idea how much money we're talking about?
I think you're gonna ask me that. Bunch.
Okay.
I wanna say it's, once the state starts divvying it out, I wanna say, the $100,000 threshold sticks in my mind, but, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
I think it's around between that, maybe 200. But it's like all the other opioid money, it comes in, those that have asked to participate get a portion of that pie.
So does this go straight to the county, or does this go to the
Goes to
opioid?
the state, and the state will divvy it out based on those that chose to participate in this.
But does the money come to the county, or does it come to the opioid, abatement group?
It goes to
Yes.
opioid and then we delegate.
Yes, but they have authority over the funds to appropriate it out to nonprofits.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. A resolution acknowledging House Joint Resolution 803. This was a resolution that was passed by the state. Does everybody know what this is about? It's making the month of July a month of prayer, I think, is the crux of the matter. It's very long.
I'll make a motion so we can at least talk about it.
Okay.
Second.
All right.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, go ahead, Commissioner.
Is this the same language as the state passed, or?
It is, I double checked it, I've read it today.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Commissioner Mansfield told me he was going to take the exact document.
I verified that as well.
Except for the typo.
Yes, except for the typo, which, Ms. Bergdorf will be making a motion to amend.
Commissioner Bergdorf.
Shannon will be making a motion to,
Actually, I would like to discuss it.
Okay, well, we're in discussion, so go ahead.
Number one, I don't know why we're even going to bring this to this committee, because by the time we vote on it, there will be nothing more than fluff. And the governor has already enacted it. My parents' preacher preached on it, or spoke to it at church yesterday. And the articles I read in the paper is that they had asked that the pastors and churches would speak to their denomination, to their churches about this. And, I don't like it, because it's coming from the government. So, I will not support it. But I will tell you specifically, I have a question, but since the person who brought it here is not here. When it says, whereas evidence of corruption in our federal government stands to impact every Tennessean, that's my hitch. What corruption? I don't know what corruption we're talking about. I don't know whose corruption. Is it Democratic corruption? Is it Republican corruption?
Yes and yes.
Is it local corruption? Is there no local corruption? Is there only federal corruption? Federal employees, is it just the president, just the House, is it just the Senate? I think it's a very,
Just the county commissioner.
I think it's just broad, and I think it's dangerous. I was not elected to be a spiritual advisor or, not a preacher. I just think this is not, it is not acceptable to me. You know, it's fine that they did it at the county, but you will not have my name on it. Because I don't think it's right. The people in my commission district don't ask me to tell them how to pray or where to go to church or anything. And when I ran for office, almost nobody asked me where I went to church. Or even if I went to church. And, when we would discuss, eventually it would come out, and that was fine, but I just think it's dangerous. I think this is too much the government being involved in the personal lives. And I don't like it, so.
Anybody else?
I don't,
Go ahead.
I don't see anything wrong with it, but I'm sure not gonna contradict Commissioner Bergdorf in this. I think she has some good thoughts about it. As I look at it, it's not anything that I personally I don't feel like, and I think that's what she's saying, it's a personal thing and not anything to be done by government, but do agree with everything in it.
I was gonna say, out of much respect for Mr. Bergdorf, I do understand what she's saying, and I understand, that I don't like the government involved really in anything, but I love it whenever that there's a moment that we can stand up for something correct in the state. So, I mean, even though I do understand that, I like it. I mean, I think that it's even got Jesus in it. It's really good. I mean, it aligns with what I believe. So it's not good if it didn't align with something I believe. But I think I've been pretty transparent about the way I believe, that I'm a Christian. I don't think everybody has to be Christians. Wish they were. I don't think everybody has to be. I love everybody regardless. But I think that the moment that our state comes in and gives an opportunity to actually make a Christian statement for something that's been so void for so long, that makes me joyful for a moment. I don't know. I wish that all of us, including myself, would act the same way in private as we do in public. I'm pointing the finger at myself too. And I think this is just a good step in the right direction. So it's pretty cool that we don't get these opportunities very often, and that's why I would like to seize the opportunity to support something that I actually do align with. So
I think it's, at the end of the day, it's just an endorsement of what the state has laid out. Whether we vote in favor of it or against it, it's still going to be, July is going to be the month of prayer, like June is the month of pride. So, I much prefer this, and so.
I'm so proud to be Tennessean at that moment.
So, anyway, do we have a motion regarding this resolution?
I make a motion that we accept it and adopt it. If there were any typos, I'd like to check it for that, but otherwise I'd like to adopt it as it is.
Do we have a second?
A second with the amendment.
Pardon?
A second with the amendment that the typo be corrected.
By Commissioner Bergdorf, I'll second that.
The amendment of the typo?
Can we do something?
Sucks enough though, it's going to get out of it.
Okay, so we have a motion, an amended motion, and a second. All in favor?
No.
Opposed? No? So, Mr. Hyde, did you vote? I did, okay, all right. So please, all right. Okay, resolution to honor runners' safety in Sumner County.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Good, I know.
I'll second.
Second.
Okay, second, Commissioner Teacher. Any discussion on it?
Where'd this come from?
If I may, I believe this is added by the mayor.
Well, so moved.
Do we know if there's any grant money associated with this? Do we get anything by?
Parks Board will find it. Sorry, Mr. Chair.
They're not a park board yet, they're just an ad hoc.
We're about to run you out of here.
Thank you, Chairman.
I don't know, but we could probably do the research and find out. I would,
Can we move this to?
well, I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules for this.
So moved.
Someone,
I have a question.
do we have a second?
Hey, I withdraw my second. I have a question before I do that.
You can still discuss
Do we
it.
discuss it?
Have the motion.
Okay, I second it.
Okay, but, Commissioner Janung has a question. Can we suspend the rules first?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I have a question. So the resolution is to raise awareness of runner safety in Sumner County. This seems a little bit, well, it's kind of like saying, well, we want to recognize people are fat because we need to make sure that they don't eat a lot of Twinkies. I mean, this is common sense. Runners should be safe when they run. So why do we have to tell the runners how to run and how to be safe? I'm not sure what the point is of this resolution.
Amen.
It seems like, well, it seems like, if you were gonna put in there, you know, it says here, runners should always take steps to protect themselves. Well, if you're
No pun
running,
intended.
if you're running, why would you not protect yourself? I mean, I'm serious, this is
Hold the fast one.
about the silliest thing I've ever heard.
That's where it came from. Right.
And so is it because somebody got run over by a car? Or did, I would think that this.
I was shocked when I saw it.
I mean, if you want to, they complain about petty things coming before the commission, but are all the runners, I mean, you're still having better body, lower cholesterol, seriously. So are these people gonna come to the commission in droves and be upset if we don't have running safety? I run, and I may not be very safe, I might jump in a hole, but I don't want to be ignorant, but this is a little ridiculous, I think the word is today. So, I would ask you to just look at it and not do it. This is actually an insult to people who run. If I was a runner, I would take great insult to this, because I know how to run and I know how to take care of myself. I don't know this, but I do know how to do that, and I think this is absolutely an insult.
Okay, while we're still out of session, anybody else want to? Ken, you want to speak to this?
I'll second what.
Okay, we'll go back in session then with your teacher.
Can I discuss this? So, okay, my problems with the document. I think there's nothing wrong with, you know, raising awareness for running or safety, or runner safety. But if you go through it, I think what's odd to me is it says running has been shown to lead to greater cardiovascular fitness, better body composition, lower cholesterol, excellent glucose and insulin control, stronger bones, better hormone regulation, and positive neurological functioning. So hormones, I think, if I want to make a statement on it, like, I don't know that actually says it's going to regulate your hormones if you run, because you could make the argument that, you know, resistance training and lifting weights, but I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not going to try to make that decision. But I think that's an odd blanket statement right there, just to say that's whereas it's been, because we don't know that. And then that's going to get, if we really get into it in our 24, we're going to strike it all to pieces, and it'll say one or two whereases, and that'll be about all there is left. But I think if you, I'm saying that's a joke, but if you come down to the fact of where it says, this is the part that bothers me, whereas runners who utilize our county's many roads, sidewalks, greenways, and trails should feel safe when participating in their blood sport. And now this is where as a citizen, if I'm looking at my government passing something like this, whereas our community, its leadership, and law enforcement agencies throughout Sumner County are committed to providing a safe running environment for our runners, making Sumner County a runner-friendly community, and whereas runners should always take steps to protect themselves, including being aware of their surroundings, trusting their intuition, planning their routes, running with the club crew, being visible in the dark, I don't know what that even means, carrying a cell phone and ID, being street smart by maintaining awareness of traffic, running on sidewalks when available, and being cognizant about headphone use, and so it's talking about all these things. So what bothers me is it's saying that our community, its leadership, and law enforcement, so its government is watching that someone's not using headphones, and that they're carrying a cell phone and ID. I mean, like, how far does it go? I know it's not a law, but you know, I don't know what the point is, and so we get to where we go away from being, it's good for you to run, to it's good for you to make sure runners are safe, and I don't know exactly where we're going with this. That's why I withdrew my second, because I thought about it right here in the middle of it, and it feels a little strange, but
May I speak to
I
that?
hope everybody runs, it's good.
May I speak to that?
Yeah.
I ran for 10 years, and sometimes I ran singly, sometimes I ran with clubs, sometimes I ran with a partner, and I understand all of this. What I don't understand, just like with House Joint Resolution 803, why the government needs to tell anybody how to do any of these things. Now, if this isn't covered in school, because, I mean, I still ride my bicycle, I know bike safety laws. Knowing them and doing them aren't the same. My thing about this, just like, hey, here's how you need to pray, what you need to pray for, and here are all the things that you need to do because we need you to pray really hard for these things just this month. Here we are, so while we are, so what does this help? Who does this help? Who does this help? And I didn't always carry a cell phone, but those are safety issues. I mean, you know, if you go walking in the dark, you're going to wear reflective clothing. Wouldn't you?
Well, it doesn't say that, it says being visible in the dark.
That means wearing
As opposed to
reflective
being
clothing. I mean, I'm just saying, what does it do? Why are we doing that? It's adding, like, why would we do it? Where does so we're safe? I mean, I don't understand it. I don't know how the government needs to help me understand it.
I make a motion that we strike this from the record.
We have a motion.
Legal, how do we lay this on the table and it never come back? Is that what I need to do? Lay it on the table? Can we table it so it can't be brought back?
You can simply, take up the resolution as a no vote.
No, okay. Well, I just don't want it to come back.
Essentially kill it.
I don't want it to come back. It needs to be buried.
I can't guarantee you from ever coming back as a new item again,
I figured.
but it gets it off now and it's gotta be redone as an original.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion to deny it. We have,
Call question.
did you second it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Wait, is this for calling the question? Or is this for?
This is what it's been.
This is, we're voting on it.
Yeah, okay.
He needed a second.
Okay,
Yeah.
So, we're not calling the question, we're voting on it.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay. Resolution fails. Okay.
He never was in.
If I may, before you entertain the next two items.
Yes, sir.
Both of these came out of the planning commission and they both came out with positive recommendations, just
From the
if
plan.
it helps anybody.
Okay, and it's had one reading already last month, and this is the second reading. And
Yes.
it should go to commission
Yes,
on the 20th.
for both of them, yes.
Yeah, yes. For 2024-01 and 2024-02.
Can I make a motion we suspend the rules and just because this is gonna be something important to folks, and just if there's anybody here, I don't even know who's here, but if there's anybody who wants to speak on
Make a
it,
motion and we get a second. You can-
I'll make a motion we suspend the rules and let anyone in the crowd
Here, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Commissioner Rogers. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We're suspending the rules. Okay.
Laura Board Speaker, 24 80 Range Road, Portland, group approved. Thumbs up.
I want you to vote for the lower density. I've said this before, and it has been publicized all over the country, and I want it to be lower density
Okay. You're asking for us to move forward with the commission. Anybody else?
One thing that I hope is clear when it comes out is that you're setting a new standard, and for people to keep in mind, for the public to keep in mind, that even the old standard was appealed all the time, changed all the time. So we're just setting a new standard to elevate the request to have it higher density, to be a higher acreage for that higher density. Because people that are seeing quarter acre lots, so make sure that that's clear.
And to be really clear, we are continuing with the planning commission and county commission did back in 2010. They approved the 2035 comprehensive plan. It got passed by both commissions and died on the vine. So literally what we're doing is picking up truly a less intense zoning code, because that zoning code said minimum 5 acre lots, period. And we on the planning commission got some pushback there. And went with, if you have the proper infrastructure in place, that is fire hydrants, street width, then you could go with 100,000 square foot lot, which is about 2 5/16 acres. So it's important the public knows primarily why we did this. And I think most, if not all, of the commissioners heard this from the constituency, that they wanted to see something done about the out of control growth. And so that's where we're at today. Huh?
Are we back in session?
Yes, we're back in session. Commissioner Teacher.
So I've had calls on it both ways, and I'll just my people in general, most seem to be for this passage. There are some who have, and I'm just going to bring up the points that they made because I represent them, and so I want to make sure I do the right thing. Some of them had concerns because some of them have bought, and this makes sense, some have bought land in order to have like some of their retirement out of that, and they're sitting on this land, and they want to sell it, and their family be able to, take some of that windfall money from the sale of that. Their concern is that they bought it with thinking they could sell it off in such and such whatever size lots, and they want to go, and now if they have to go to the larger lots, it's really worrying them. And there have been a handful. I've had more people that are not concerned because they're not doing that, but that is a valid point for the ones who did do that situation. And so, and then the other people that have been in my district, the other ones, there have been a few, even fewer than, like I said, a few that way that I just said, and a few that have said, look, what I worry about is, like, if a young family wants to come out here and purchase, and build a house out in the country, it's going to make it harder for them to do it, and they'll be almost forced into suburban type, places, because of that. So those were the two concerns. I just want to bring it forward because the majority of my people have been for this. I really do care about the ones that had valid points about these other things, and I'd like to see that there's something in place for them, because it's not about what I think, it's about what they think, and neither is conservative or liberal. It's just it's a really great point to be thinking about. So I'm going to pass this through. I plan on voting yes on this, but for this moment. But I'm also going to continue to speak to my folks, and anybody listening to this, I'd like for you to reach out to me again. because I really wanna know exactly that I'm doing the right thing for my people, over my will, and so that's very important to me. So, anyway, I say all that just because I feel like that, I want to say this also, my Facebook has been shut down 2 or 3 times. I cannot keep a Facebook page for whatever reason, and I don't say anything controversial on there, but somebody's got the puppeteer thing going on with Meta for me, so I need a constituent's help to get my Facebook up and running, or just please contact me directly. Everybody knows my number, 615-319-7872, if you get trouble finding me.
Commissioner,
Wow, that was a good advertisement.
Absolutely.
So, I kind of spearheaded this, I think. And I've gotten several calls, because I'm probably the more rural, part of the county in this. I've gotten several calls that says, well, you're gonna make land unaffordable, you're gonna make housing unaffordable for first-time buyers. Well, the sad part of it is, I haven't done any of that. The urban sprawl of the city is what's driven the home prices in this county. So, and I've asked everyone, I'll pass the offering plate in a little bit. I've asked everyone that's called me, said, well, what is your solution? If this is gonna make property so high that nobody can afford it, what's the solution? Well, I don't know, but I'm tired of seeing these little orange ribbons going in front of my new house that we just bought. Okay? I'm trying to help you have less orange ribbons. What's your solution? I don't know, but I just wanted you to know that I'm tired of these orange ribbons. Okay, good. I'm trying to help you with that. So I guess, to Commissioner Teishner's point, the right thing, you know, we've heard it said many times that everybody wants to be a wolf until there's time to do wolf things.
I want to be a sheepdog.
And I think that at this point that this is a time that we have to step up. I've heard several commissioners, and you can look at the seating chart and see who I sit around, say that my kids will never be able to afford a house in this county. There's nothing I can do about it. Shame on them. Shame on them. To be sitting in the chambers and say there's nothing I can do about it, my kid will never be able to afford anything in this county, that's ridiculous. Will my kids be able to afford anything in this county? I hope this is a way that we can start to right the ship. If you want to live in the city, go live in the city. Let me protect what's out in the county. But I think if we truly are to a point where we mean what we say and say what we mean, that we're tired of our overcrowded schools, we're tired of our overcrowded highways, that we're tired of our overcrowded grocery stores, we're tired of the cities coming out into the county, we're tired of people not having water to bathe with. I mean, we could go on and on and on. And a lot of that is top-of-the-ridge world problems. I've said it and said it and said it, and I'll probably say it the rest of these 2 years. If I run again, I may keep saying it. But there's a lot more problems on top of the ridge than happens on the bottom of the ridge. And we're losing land at a football field a day. That's ridiculous. When you ask everybody, why are you moving here? Well, you got the plow and all this stuff on your county emblem, and we love your county land. Well, you're taking it away. And it's not you, it's government is taking it away. We're allowing the consumption of land. And my dad has said it for years, I don't know what in the hell people are going to do when the land's gone because they're not making any more of it. I guess we're going to be eating tomato plants and cucumbers off of a patio in a pot, because that's where we're all fixing to be living in high-rises if we keep going the way we are. So, I'll support this. I'll support it all the way through. I have supported it all the way through. I think this is a point where we, the elected officials, we always like to talk about, we act on what our constituents want. We act on what our constituents want. And I bet we could go sit in front of every new Publix, every new little Starbucks, every new little coffee shop around town, and we'll hear everybody fuss and gripe and moan that it takes them 25 or 30 minutes to get from Castine Springs to the square in Galvin, where we've got a courthouse that takes up a quarter of a lane of travel that used to be there. Well, you build it, they'll come. We built it, now here comes the people. Now it's time, let's slow it down. Let's at least let the infrastructure get into shape. I mean, Highway 109, north and south between Portland and Galvin, is pitiful. And we've got a whip and a majority leader to live in this county. And those are state highways. Anyway, it's time for us to get our infrastructure under control. Because if we keep going this way, and we have to have a tax increase, then who's gonna afford to live here?
I'm one of those commissioners who have adult children who cannot afford to live in Sumner County. So, I guess I'm one of those, but that doesn't mean I will not support this. I'll admit it, because I said it for the record.
I just want to say one more thing. I think Commissioner Rogers did a beautiful job, and I really do agree and love what you were saying on all that. But I have heard the wolf statement said several times, and I just think that I want to say the statement, what is it again? Everybody wants to be a wolf till it's time to do wolf things. Is that what it is?
I think that's what it is.
Something like that. But I think, I mean, do we really want to be wolves? I mean, like, because the thing is wolves are sneaky and wolves take advantage of the lesser. And so, like, I'm just being real. I mean, I pray that I'm more like a sheepdog, because a sheepdog is all friendly until that you start to hurt the ones that are in, you know, the area you protect. And so, therefore, I never want to be a wolf. I want to keep the wolves at bay. And I don't think Commissioner Rogers is a wolf either. I think that he's a sheepdog also. But I'm just saying, just in general, I've seen him fight for his citizens, and I love that about him. I'm just saying, I just want to clear that statement up, that don't lump me into that statement. I don't want to be a freaking wolf. You know, I want to keep the wolves at bay. So just so everybody knows.
Call question.
Can I say something before?
Yeah, go ahead. You're the chair.
Okay.
I'm just trying to keep it moving.
For the constituents who are concerned about the bigger lots, number one, around every municipality, there's an urban growth boundary. Those are not affected. Those will still be 1 acre lots, 40,000 square feet. And if they're annexed into the city, which we've had very little control, stop it. It can be as small a lot as you can imagine. So the statement that my children will never be able to live in Sumner County has got very little to do with lot size, because those lot sizes are still available. Now, going into the unincorporated county that is not in the urban growth boundary, there are still things called the zone change. If you can go in, if you're a farmer and you want to get the favor of all your neighbors and say, I want to do half-acre lots here, and they agree, the planning commission may allow it. May not allow it, but that is an option. So the real, we only have so much land, and you can't put 10 pounds of garbage in a 5-pound bag. So where do you stop? We've got flood control issues that are huge. More roofs, more flat roof, more streets create more flood control problems. We've got traffic problems. I mean, if you look at Gallatin, very little has changed in the arterial structure of the streets and everything. But the population of Gallatin, that was 23,000 in the year 2000, is now over 50,000. And with 13,000, and then the Lot 4 projects, another 2,000 homes, we could double the population of Gallatin in the next 5 years. It's got to stop somewhere. Not everybody in the world can come to Gallatin. There's not enough room for it. So, as people are talking to you, those are options. You've got the urban growth boundaries. You can live in the cities. The housing is less dense. But, you know, a lot is worth what a lot is worth. And whether that lot is an acre, or 2.5 acres, or 5 acres, it's not a linear acceleration in the cost. So there's lots and lots of things that will happen. You could argue that the price per acre goes down because of what we're doing. So, you know, the thing is, we don't know, but
I just want to say thank you. I mean, seriously, that is, because for the constituents that I have that are concerned, that's a better explanation than I ever get. That was well done, and you're on the planning commission, you're chairman, and so it just really, really appreciate that, because I care about what they think, and even though that, you know, I know there's a lot of good reasons to do a lot of things, I wanna make sure I don't do something that's gonna hurt them, because that's all I care about. And I know that's who everybody else cares about, they could just, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it just really is, I'm right in the heart of the county, and so I've got this real, you know, conflicted type environment that's coming in, even though that most are for this, I just wanna still care about the ones who are worried, you know, so, you understand what I mean? So I appreciate that very much.
Okay, the question's been called.
We can just vote, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
That's one less
All in favor of moving this to the commission?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes unanimously.
Did we have a motion and second on that?
Yeah, we did.
I'll second
About an
what we did.
hour
Good.
Motion to.
Wait, did we get both of these?
Yes, yes,
Good.
yeah, they go together.
Yeah, I got those.
All right.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're